Hey everyone, Steve here again with another random video. On screen is the mouse I use for my main desktop, an Amazon Basics multicolor gaming mouse. I stumbled upon this in 2018, and since purchasing it, it's been my primary workstation mouse. I'm sure there are better mice out there, but it fits my needs and my budget. Even though it's marketed as a gaming mouse, I pretty much use it for productivity and casual work. Although, I do use it once in a while to struggle in Valorant with my friends. The thing I like most about it is the DPI switch that allows me to change the cursor speed on the fly. This is handy during my rare gaming sessions, but I also like to use this setting generally in Windows. One thing I don't like about it though is the location on the mouse. It doesn't happen frequently, but I can accidentally hit the switch when doing some aggressive scrolling or just laying my hand weird on the mouse. Recently, I've grown tired of hitting it, so one night I decided to solve it by moving the button altogether to a different part of the mouse. Here, I'll show my attempt on how I made that happen. To begin, I disconnected the mouse, flipped it over, and removed the 5 plastic feet and adhesive stickers with a spudger. I previously removed the feet once to make sure that this project was even possible, so that's why they look crinkled. The adhesive stickers were not reusable, so I threw them away afterwards. Underneath the plastic feet are 5 screws that can be taken out with a Phillips PH1 screwdriver or bit. When the screws are removed, the top and bottom of the mouse won't separate completely as there's a ribbon cable connecting the top and bottom shell pieces together. Disconnecting that, the mouse halves can be separated. I put the bottom piece to the side and worked on the top. There's a daughter board that controls the DPI switch in the top shell and must be removed by another 2 Phillips screws. Removing those and the board is free. Looking at the daughter board, the DPI switch is a small, black button that is connected by 2 pins soldered to the board. From this, I formed a plan consisting of removing the button from the board, soldering jumper wires from the vias where the button used to sit to the removed button, mounting the button to the left side of the mouse, and stopping the original button assembly from moving. To remove the switch, I would use my hot air station to save some time. Before using it, I used some Captain tape to protect some of the electronics like the LEDs and the base of the ribbon cables. I also used my Hacko helping hands to hold the daughter board. I placed the board upside down, set my hot air station for 500 degrees Fahrenheit, and heated the area where the switch pins were located. When the solder around the pins got hot enough, I was able to pull out the switch with some tweezers. I then took my soldering iron out with some wick to clean up the vias. The vias were a little stubborn, but I eventually cleaned them out. With the vias cleaned, I cut and stripped some 30 gauge wire to fill in the vacated vias. In retrospect, I would have used thicker wire, but that's all I had around at the time. Using my helping hands again to hold the daughter board in place, I placed the strip wire through the vias, applied flux, and soldered the jumpers to the board. When I finished applying them, I placed the DPI button into the helping hands to be soldered. To help things along, I tinned the ends of the wire to make the application easier. When the switch was solidly connected, I reconnected the daughter board to the main board to test that everything still worked as expected. Before getting to the switch placement, I took some time to clean the mouse while it was disassembled. It's not every day you get the opportunity to clean out debris and mystery hair in your devices, so I took advantage of it. Getting back to the placement of the switch, I knew I wanted to place the button on the left side of the mouse, but debated on if I wanted to surface mount the switch or keep it inside the shell. After examining the insides, I saw some space between a screw stock and the support for the side buttons. This was plenty enough space to mount a button, and it would allow me to use the side rubber grip as a means of pressing the DPI switch. With that figured out, I peeled back some of the rubber grip and taped it back using some masking tape. To make a hole for the switch, I just used my cordless power drill. I looked at the size of the button head in comparison to my drill bits and found the 1/8 drill bit big enough to encompass the part of the switch that would be pressed without getting stuck inside the new plastic hole. Again, in retrospect, I will have used a vise to hold the mouse shell in place, but the result came out alright. I marked a place on the shell and slowly drilled into it. To remove the jagged ends on both sides of the hole, I used 2 files from a kit I had lying around, a rounded file for the insides, and 1 flat file to remove pieces on the surface. After a few minutes of filing, the hole was smooth enough to allow the button of the switch to move freely. For mounting the switch, I thought about using some play to hold it in place, but I avoided it due to making sure I could make this mod reversible. I also didn't want to go with super glue because if I use too much, I can make the part of the switch that moves in place stuck. Since I didn't have a lot of options at my disposal, I used some double-sided screen tape to see if that would hold the switch in place. When I removed the protective cover off the tape, I placed it on the drilled hole and held it in place. After a few minutes, it seemed like the switch stayed attached. On the outside by the rubber grip, I noticed the switch would need something between the grip and the actual switch because there was a couple millimeters of space that needed to be filled for contact. For something makeshift, I grabbed an eraser and cut off a small piece of it to shove into the hole. This made it easier to press a switch. Lastly, I took care of the previous location of the switch. I unscrewed the plastic cap that originally pressed on the DPI switch and placed a small amount of superglue on part of the cavity where the lip of the cap touches the shell. I held the cap in place for a few seconds and screwed it back in. With the cap stuck in place, I began reassembly. For the excess wire attached to the switch, I used some electrical tape to keep it from getting in the way. As I was getting ready to put the top and bottom halves of the mouse together, I noticed the switch tape adhesive giving out on one of the sides. Since I was so far into this project, I decided to use a little bit of super glue on the part of the adhesive that gave out. Looking back, I think using both tape and super glue worked well because it allowed me to line up the switch to a drilled hole without fear of a permanent seal. With that fixed, the button felt like it was in place, so I sealed up the mouse again. For the plastic feet that cover the screw holes, I wanted to attempt to straighten them out a little bit. I placed a couple heavy objects on them and let it sit for a couple hours. They're not perfect, but better than before. To reapply the feet, I used some double-sided tape I had lying around and covered the areas where they would sit. I then traced the areas with a hobbyist knife to remove the excess. With that last part to the reassembly, the mouse mod is complete. The DPI switch is now hidden in the grip portion of the mouse. The previous switch location still illuminates to tell what setting you're on and stays stationary now, no matter how hard you press. I know I'll get a comment about why I didn't use the software Amazon provides to just disable the switch. The software fully disables the switch without knowing the current sensitivity, which is something I don't want. The mod didn't make me a better gamer, but it keeps me from accidentally messing with the DPI settings for the current task. Also, I set it up to be reversible if I ever wanted it back to its original configuration. Hopefully this video inspires others to want to tinker around with their own devices to make them work better for them. So that'll do it for me. This is Steve signing off, and stay safe everyone.